This conference will now be recorded.
So please try to download in the same day. Otherwise, the link it may expire. Okay, after 2-3 days. So hope everyone downloaded it. Okay, thank you. Okay, so in the last session we discussed Linux basics, and then we understood file system hierarchy, and then we discussed Linux architecture. So the file system hierarchy here, the importance of the file system hierarchy we understood. Okay, so also we discussed that how to write shell script. So we understood if you want to write a shell script, just it's a .sh file we use, and then we discussed that how to write using with normal text editor, using with VA editor, and then also differences between compiler and interpreter we discussed. So compiler based languages are generally programming, interpreter based languages are scripting languages. So we discussed that it's an interpreter based, shell is an interpreter based language. Okay, and then how to execute the script and commands. So these are the things we actually discussed. So any questions here, anyone? Okay. So we'll see again some of the basic things today. So I mean, like we can say that the basic commands, first we'll try to understand the basic commands. And these commands, how to use in the scripting. So how to use basic commands, how to use whatever we are going to cover. So these commands, right? So how to use these commands in the shell script. And also we will try to understand how to take input from the keyboard. Okay. So if you observe here, if you want to take input from the keyboard, first of all, we should be aware of how to define a variable. So we will also discuss that what is variable and what is the importance of that. Okay, so now basic commands, if you check the basic commands, so let me first connect to the server. Okay, so the basic commands here, for example, pwd. So we know it display present working directory, right? So the pwd means it will display present working directory. Very basic level commands. And date is a command, it displays the current date. Uname is a command, it displays the OS name. So uname, it display OS name. So I'm using Linux here. So it display that OS name. And cal is a command, it display the current month calendar. So current month calendar it display. But if you want to see the current, like a specific month, for example, 12/2022, you can see that it just prints that. Any specific month you can use it. And uname -a we use, it display like OS name, also host name, and then kernel version, everything it display. So -a is actually all the information, all generally, right? So who is the command display the current, like all the users connected to the server? How many users connected here? Two users connected. If you check, one user here, here we have, and another user using with this terminal. Let's say, for example, I'm connecting with another user now. For example, I'm just connecting Siri, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is something password I provided. And then again, if I run it, you can see that. So basically, what in generally real time also, if you run the command, who command, we can see. So when that particular user is actually logged in, the time and all we can see that. So how many users here? 3 users. But I don't want to see the names of these 3 users. I want to just see the count, how many users connected. So we can reuse this command output using with pipe, right? Piping concept. The pipe command, pipe is a one option which we use to redirect the command output. So this command output now, it will redirect to input of next command. So through pipe, this command output, it will go to input of next command. So the next command, whatever we are writing. So for example, I want to see only the count, how many users connected. So we use a wc-l here. So we can check that 3 users connected now. So 3 users. So it is giving now basically what 3 lines. So wc is a word count. -l is based on the line. For example, see, let me create a first one file. So we will discuss how to create these all the things, but I'm just creating some text file. So I'm writing here ABC, XYZ, and then PQR. This is my file, and then Control D. So this is the file now. We can see cat test to display that file. I created a file, text file, and it is having some text data. Now if we check, I want to see that how many lines are there, how many words are there, and how many characters are there. We can simply use WC, which is a word count, and then file name. So what it will print? It will generally print 3 fields. So the first field, it contains number of lines. Now you can check now how many lines are there. So it is only 2 lines here. And you can see the number of words, 3 words. So 3 words, ABC, XYZ, PQR. And then there are 12 characters, but if you check only 9 characters, right? So 3, 3, 3, 9. And space also count. So that is a 10th character. After XYZ, this is an enter. So that is actually 11th character. After PQR, there is enter, that is a 12th character. So all the characters, it's valid. So it will also count that enter. So 12 characters total. So for example, now I want to see only how many lines are there. So then we provide that WC-L. So there are 2 ways. Either you can open a file, cat test, and then redirect this to WC-L. Anything is fine. But if you're just directly using WC-L file name, it will also give you the file name. But if you just open a file, then it will not give file name. It will just reading the content of the file. And that content we are redirecting into WC-L. It will just print how many lines available in that file. How many words, how many characters. I want to see lines and words. Okay, LW. I want to see lines and characters. We use lines. This is the way we can use pipe symbol. So the same thing here also we used who command, and who is giving what, the number of users connected to the server. But I want to see just how many users connected. We know that -L it is giving, WC-L it is giving line count. So 3 users connected here. Great. So who am I is a command, it display the current username. I hope you are aware of the differences between who space and space I. So who am I is a command here. Let's say now, for example, if I switch to something, another user. So now if I type who am I, it is showing Siri. But if I type who space am space I, now I can see Bob. So basically, if you are giving a space, it will just give you that. It will just give you that from where we actually came. So means that is first logged in username it will print. But who am I always what it will give you the current username. So the current username is Siri. Exit I am using to come out from there. So these are very basic level commands. So these commands now we will try to understand how exactly we can use the script to execute the commands. So for example, okay, basic commands we discussed something pwd, cal command, date command, right? Uname command, uname -a, so like that. And then uptime it will print that when the server is up and how many users connected, everything we can see with uptime. So when the server is up, so the server is up based on the system, like this is the time, and then you can see 3 users connected and load average is currently this. And we discussed who am I, who space am space I, and then also we discussed that who command. So who command we understood number of users connected to the server. But if you want only count, then we redirected that -n. So pipe is actually what? So if we have a 2 commands, command 1 and command 2. So basically the command 1 output, it will redirect to command 2 input. Okay, so now WC, that is what we understood. So WC options we discussed. So WC-L, WC-W, WC-C, only WC also we discussed. With the file we discussed that. Now, if we check here in the last session, what we understood, if you want to write some script, so the script extension is .sh. So this is what we understood, sample.sh. And then if you check the file here, simply we have a echo hello world and echo hi. So 2 lines, and then we executed that and we got output. How to execute using with interpreter we discussed, but there is one more option, we will see that later. So sh and then sample.sh, and now we can see hello world hi shell it printed like this. But now I want to run pwd date command. So if you want to clear the screen, then we use the clear. So clear is a command, or if you want to clear, we can also use shortcut Control L. Control L, right? So now, whenever if I am executing shell scripting, first I want to clear the screen, and then later I want to print some output like present working directory and today date, and also I want to see that how many users connected to the server. How many users connected to the server. So if you want to run any operating system commands using with shell script, see now for example vi, and then I'm writing a script file session 2 underscore script 1 dot sh. So vi editor is important, right? So I'm using that. And insert mode, okay, I'm in insert mode now. So you can see echo, for example, see here, I'm trying to provide that first current OS name. So basically we know that the OS name, if you want to check, we use a command called uname. So I'm trying to use uname here. Uname I'm using. And echo, and then I'm writing here the current working directory. So working there, PWD. And echo, I'm using today date. So any command, whatever we discussed, you can use like this. Today date is, and then date command I'm writing. And echo. So I want to see that number of users connected to the system. Then the command, we know who command, but I don't want to print the list. Pipe wc-l is okay. So that same, the commands, whatever we discussed, I'm just using those commands directly, and then I'm trying to execute it. Okay. That's a very simple. So whatever the commands we discussed, I'm just trying to make that as a script because I don't want to execute those commands manually. See, let's say for example, if you want to run the scripts, if you want to run the basic commands manually, for example, after say first I want to run uname, then I want to run something pwd, then I want to run date. You can provide like this semicolon and then it will run uname first, pwd next, and then date next. If you just want to run these commands through script, that is also simple. Let's say for example, sample 1.sh. I'm just using here uname, pwd, date. So what I'm trying to do here, I want to run just as it is this commands. Then we will not get any problems. So it will just print all the commands output. See, since we have only commands, it will execute that commands and it will give you output. So it is printing here. So now we can run this command anytime. We will get the output. No need to run manually. But the problem is I don't want the command output as it is. I want to just add some text like this. The current OS name, the current working directory, today date, something like this. I want to use some text and then command output I want to print. So instead of just giving the command output directly, so we are just trying to write some combination, some text and then later output of the command. And if you are using like the combination of text here, we need to understand here very much clearly. So if you observe, we started with double quotes, ended with double quotes. The shell interpreter, it understands in general whatever you write inside the quotes, either single or double quotes. It treats that everything as a text, everything as a normal text. So if you see the current OS name, uname we are writing, and then it is understanding simply the current operating system name is uname. It will print like as it is the current OS name uname. Same thing, the current working directory pwd, it prints as it is. So why it prints as it is? Because it is not understanding this uname as a command, since we are writing between a quotes here, and it is understanding pwd as a command. It won't understand date as a command, it won't understand this as a command. Then what it do? It just prints as it is. Now if we check here, session2 underscore script. So if you have only commands in the file, okay, it executes. That's what we understood. But I have some combination of some text and also the commands also we are writing between a quotes. And then it understands everything as a text. It is not treating this uname as a command. But our requirement is what? I want to run that as a command. So if you want to run that as a command, the command should be between a backtick. So the back quoted strings are more important in shell scripting. So there is a backtick. So we call it as a backtick. See the commands we use between a backtick. So backtick here, this is the one. So how we get this backtick? If you are using shift till, you will get a till symbol. Shift till, okay. Simply shift till, if you are using till symbol, you will get. Without using shift, if you are using till symbol, then that is a backtick. So commands we use between a backtick inside the shell scripting. So this is same again in Perl script also. So shell and Perl, it follows this command we should define between a backtick. If you see here, okay, this is the script we discussed. We understood it is just printing as it is. Now what I am trying to do now, I'm trying to change this file with the backticks. So where backtick is required, wherever if you are trying to execute operating system command, then we have to provide a backtick. I want to run this uname as a OS command, pwd as a OS command, date as a OS command, and OS command here. So this is how any operating system command, if you are writing inside the shell scripting, this is the basic rule. The command we should substitute between a backtick if we are writing the combination of some text. If you are not writing some combination of text, that is not required, because we understood that if you just write a line, like an entire line without using code, if you just write a command, it will execute and we will get the output. But if you are writing some combination of the text, this is mandatory. So since we are writing some combination of text, I have defined that commands between a backtick, and then I'm trying to execute it now. You can see now the current OS is Linux. The current working directory is this. Today date is this. Number of users connected to the system 3. So this is how it works here. I hope it is clear now. This is very basic, but it is more important. As I told that the commands, whenever if you are writing inside the script, we should check that whether we are using quotes combination. See, if it is not a quotes combination, you don't need to use that between a backtick. Let's say you are writing some condition, you are not using any quotes, you just want to take that one particular command should execute in the condition. We're not writing any combination of some text. Okay, you can directly use that command. You don't need to use backtick. But generally, where we use this backtick with the combination of some text, if you are writing text. So hope it is clear now. Any questions here, anyone? Any questions here?
Babu, we can use a single inverted comma, right? Like instead of double, it's no problem.
No problem. So you can also use single comma here. For this, it is okay. But the problem is generally, since you are asking, I'll just explain that. So the differences between single and double quotes. The single quotes always, it treats everything as a text. Now, for example, see, I'm just defining some variable. We'll try to understand what is variable. I define a variable a equal to 10. And if you want to print this variable, so variable substitution, always we use a dollar symbol. I define a variable and I'm trying to get that variable. So you cannot use a. A, if you are using like this, echo, it understands this a as a normal text. So we should aware of it, dollar is required. So whenever if you define a variable, so the variable here I define, so the variable, so this is something variable here. Yeah. So, okay, so this is a variable. So the variable name is a and it contains a value 10. And this value, if you want to print, and then we should use $A here. So dollar is mandatory to get the value. So $A if you are using, and then $A it will print 10 now. So because that is the variable of A. But the problem is now single quotes and double quotes if you observe. If you are writing something single quote, okay, now first let me just write $A. It prints the value. There is no problem. But if you use single quote, okay, I'm using single quote $A. It understands that single quote, whatever you define inside the single quote, it treats like a normal text. So means it prints as it is like a $A. It is not giving a variable substitution. But double quotes, it will give you the substitution of this variable. So the variable substitution means what $A value is actually what, and it prints that. Single quote, it understands just like a text. Now the same thing if you try here. So see, that is for variables. Now if you try here, for example, I'm just writing something today, date is, and then backtick, I'm trying to use date, and then backtick single quotes, I'm closing it. Now if we check here, what it is printing today date is, it is printing like a date. It is not giving the OS command substitution. Why it is not giving substitution for this? As we understood that single quote, if you are using anywhere, it just prints as it is. It is not giving any substitution, no matter whether it is a variable, no matter whether it is a command. So that is why generally it's recommended if you are executing something combination of what command or variable, then if you want to get the value of that, then it is recommended to use this double quotes. You got my point, the difference now?
Yeah. And another thing, when you are executing the script, you are writing shell script, right? As such, and then file name, and then you are executing. Can we use the bash instead of shell?
You can use bash. I told that in the last section also. So you can use sh or bash. It works, both are same only because the sh in the bash interpreter name is sh basically. Even if you are using bash, it also understands. There is no problem in that. Now you can see it is executed and we got the output as
Yeah, perfect. Thank you.
okay. So this quoting rules anyway we will discuss in detail once if we start our dedicated shell scripting sessions. But just here we understood, since you are asking, like we understood that okay, what exactly the single quoted string, what exactly the double quoted string. So single quoted strings always, it will just print as it is whatever we define between the single quotes. That's why we generally go with the double quotes if you want to substitute something. Okay, so hope it is clear now. So operate.
Babu, I'm not sure whether it's a relevant question now.
Yeah.
Instead of getting the output here, so can we have the result redirecting to some other host, like suppose like I'm running the command on your machine remotely, and I don't want the result to be displayed on your shell. Instead of that, I want to display that result on my shell on my laptop. Is it possible to redirecting the result?
You can redirect result into any file. So here also you can redirect that. So let's say now I'm writing this output I don't want to print here while executing. You can write redirection symbol. So then some file name, or if you want to connect somewhere you want to redirect, you can provide that. So for that redirections concept we need to understand. So if you are just using, for example, let's say now, see, there are two things. I'm just giving simple way. Let's say I want to print something hello world. So hello world, where it is printing now, if I write like this, it will print here on the screen. But I don't want to print this hello world on the screen. I want to redirect this output somewhere in the file. That file name is something test1.log. So what I'm doing, I'm using redirection, and this redirection is output redirection. If this echo statement, if it is executing successfully, then only this output it will redirect to the test1.log. So it is not printing the output here. but you can see the file now, cat test1.log. So the test1.log contains this. Okay, so the same way while writing the script also, we can use every line like redirection, and we can redirect that output to the file. And from here, if you want, wherever, like if you want to send that data to some other servers, whatever, like you can use that process like later. But first we need to redirect that into one specific file.
Okay, good, got it.
Yeah. So this part again in the redirections we will discuss in detail. So there are different redirections: input redirection, output redirection. So we will try to understand that how we can just only redirect with the overriding, or if you want to see like all the data, old data also. So we use generally appending, right? So how we can append that? These are the things we'll discuss. Okay. So now if you observe, if you see here echo, so clearly if you try to understand echo statement, I'm just writing again session 2 underscore script 2. SH. So I'm trying to print something hello, and then I'm trying to print something hi, and then I'm trying to print something bye. So there are 3 statements we define now. There are 3 statements we define. Now if you check these 3 statements output, generally what it prints, it will print every statement in a single line. So first line it is going to print hello, and then second line hi, and then third line is bye. So like that it prints hello, and then hi, and then what? Bye. But now I don't want to print, see, why it is printing every time single line like this? Because echo having that behavior. Generally like we have a type, we know type mission. So like type mission, if you observe, in the type mission, generally if you type something, once the line completed, so we have a option that carries, we use that carries written again back to the next line. Means there is option manually we do that carries, we push back, and then it will start from the next line. So you need to understand here clearly, instead of typing in the same line, if you type in the same line, it will actually override. So that the last line what we have defined here, we cannot understand. So generally it should type in the next line, and once this line is completed, and the next line, once this line is completed, next line, like. So this is basically what carries written. So carries written concept, by default it will be there in every program, in every programming language, in every scripting language. So echo, it is by default giving that carries written. So that is a new line. So if you observe here, hello it printed, and next line hi it printed, and the next line bye it printed. That is /n basically. /n means \n we use to display new line. But this is possible directly with other languages. But in shell scripting, we cannot directly use it. Let's say, for example, see, I want to print one more new line. Okay, try to understand, this is important. Most of the times we use while writing the script. These are basic things. I'm using one more new line here with explicitly I'm using /n, /n, /n. So 3 times I used. So if you're using 3 times, the expectation is what? When we execute a script, we should also get one more new line, but it is not giving. Now if you check, it is just printing /n, hello /n, hi /n, bye /n. But this is not the expectation. So how we can get that new line? So I want to print hello, and then the next line one new line. So then hi, then one new line. then by again 1 new line. So if you want to work with any separators like this in shell scripting, echo having some options, we should use this option like -e. So if you are using -e, then this /n you can substitute /n or /t, these are the things. So if you check now, this is the script here, and then I'm trying to run it now. You can see now it printed 1 new line. After hello, it printed 1 new line. After hi, it printed 1 new line. After bye, it printed 1. So if you want to display new line explicitly, the combination with echo -e is mandatory. So this argument is mandatory. If you're not giving this /n, it understands like a just like a character. It just prints as it is like a new line. Now, sometimes this is to provide a new line extra. So means if you want to print one more extra new line, /n is required, and then to substitute that /n, that means to get the new line, we cannot simply use /n, then we also require echo -e, right? That is the option required. Now check here, for example, what I'm trying to do now. So I'm trying to write one more script, redirection. So echo and then hi, echo, then bye, and then echo, and then hello. So there are 3 lines again. So these 3 lines now, we know that by default it is giving 1 new line. By default it is giving 1 new line. And then if you check here, if I run it, it will print 1 new line every time. I want to remove that new line now. So means the output I want to print hi, in the same line by, in the same line hello. So means instead of 3 lines, I want to print the complete output in single line, which is deleting a new lines. If we check here what I'm going to use, we use a -n option. So -n with the combination of echo. So whenever if you are using -n, what it is doing, it is trying to delete a new line. It will delete a new line now. You can see the output it printed in single line, hi, bye, hello, and then you can also see this, it is also printing in the same. This is another way. So means getting a new line is different, deleting a new line is different. So to display the new line, we use a /n, but /n it works only with the combination of echo -e if we are using. And to delete a new line, we use echo -n. It is going to delete new line, right? So let me copy this as well here. Now, why we need to understand this all the things now? So this is required to understand if we are using to take input from the keyboard. So basically what we understood some of the basic commands, and we understood how to use that commands in the shell scripting. And then we will try to understand how to take input from the keyboard. So before that, first we will try to understand variable here. So just what is variable? Okay. In programming languages, if you are defining a variable, a lot of things we should aware of it. A lot of things means the data types we should aware. Like when you define any variable in programming languages, we use something data type and then variable name equal to val. This is how we define. Generally, variables we are using to store some data. Okay. So variables, it is used to store some data. But what type of data in shell scripting? The data can be any data type. It can be any data. It can be integer. It can be a float. It can be a string, it can be anything. So you don't need to define any data type here. Like in programming, as I told, we should define something int a equal to 10, float b equal to 2.5, char long, short, double, like that. We should aware of each and every variable type. But here, nothing required. You can simply define variable name equal to 1. So example, you can simply use like a equal to 10, something b equal to 2.5, and c equal to units. Like this, you can define whatever you want. But only thing, when you define a variable, you can define just a variable name equal to value. But whenever if you want to substitute that variable, dollar is required. So dollar is a dollar we use to substitute of any variable, substitute. Variables, right? So example, see, if you define these variables like this, and if you want to substitute, that means if you want to get the value from these variables, we use echo $a, echo $b, echo $c, like this we define. Okay. So this is how we define the variables here. And then to display the variables, we use dollar symbol. Now you can check this one. So I'm trying to define these variables and I'm trying to print this. I'm just copying the same thing and then I'm writing now in a script file. I define some variables. Let's say, for example, I want to print something hashes, and then I just want to print this between output. I want to print between these two. This is your wish, like output. Just I want to print like that. So now cat. So this is the file, script file, and I'm trying to execute this. If you check the output, it will print what 10 2.5 Linux. So we define first variables, 3 variables, and then the 3 variable values we printed. But you try to understand, I'm not using any double quotes or single quotes. We will discuss if you use quotes, what happens. We already understood, but again, we will discuss deep dive about that. But here, it's a simple one. We understood that how to define a variable and how to display the value of that. How to get the variable substitution, we understood. Okay, now we'll see that how we are taking input from the keyboard. So how to take input from the user, or we can say keyboard. So we have one keyword called read. Okay, what is that? Read. So read, it is a keyword. Okay, it is a keyword which we use to take input from the keyboard. So syntax is like this: read, then variable. So what is this variable name? Basically, whatever you are reading, that data it assigns to this variable. Whatever you are reading from the keyboard, that data it will assign to this variable. Let's say, for example, you can see now, for example, I'm going to use read. Okay. So if we check now, I'm taking echo, enter your name. Okay, I want to take a name here. So enter your name. If you just execute this, it will print as it is, right? So nothing there, it just prints as it is because we have only echo state. But we should take input from the keyboard. Cursor should wait. For that, read. Read of what? The read we are using to take input from the keyboard, but that whatever input you are taking, we should assign in a variable. So I'm writing simply name. Any name you can use it. I'm just writing name. And if we check the output again now, so we try to understand now. There is a script here, and then I'm trying to run this. See, enter your name, and cursor is waiting in the next line. So why cursor is waiting in the next line? Why cursor is waiting in the next line instead of same line now?
Because you gave the command read.
Yeah, so read is taking input, that is fine. Because of that only it is waiting here. So we should provide some input now. Then only it will come out. But my question was why this cursor is waiting in the next line instead of here. So it should see, since we are taking input, it should be here, right? So it should take, cursor should wait here to take input, but it is waiting here. Why?
Because you didn't put dollar.
Dollar we are using to display the variable value. Still we still not assigned any variable. See, I'm just taking the variable and whatever I'm going to input here, and this value it will go and assigns to the variable. After that only we can print that. But that is the next process. But the question is here, why cursor is displaying in the second line instead of here?
Because it's carries return.
Because of?
Carries return, like
Yeah. Because of carriage return. See, if you observe here, we are using echo. What echo is doing? Echo, it will print this statement, immediately it will go to the next line. By default, there is a new line, right? Echo, see, that's what we understood last 10 minutes. So because of this concept only I explained. So we discussed that if you are using echo, and then by default it will print that line and then immediately it will go to the next line, because by default there is a carriage return slash and internal with the echo combination. So when you use echo, by default it will print the output and then immediately it will go to the cursor next line first position. And again, if you are printing something with echo, it will go to the next line. It display and it will go to the next line. Because of echo here, it is printing the cursor in the next line. But you tell me now how we can take instead of next line in the same line here.
by using a backtick.
No. Backtick we use to substitute any operating system commands. We are not using any operating system command here.
Yeah, or maybe option N.
Yeah, so we use -n to delete this new line. So that is what the last script we understood, right? So what we understood here, so we understood that if you are using -n, so here you can see it is printing in the same line. That means what, it deleted a new line. So the point here is, whenever if you are taking input from the keyboard, because of echo by default it is giving a new line every time, and cursor it will wait in the next line. So what we can do, we can remove that new line every time before taking the input from the keyboard. So now see the same thing what I'm trying to do. I'm using -n now. If I use -n, immediately it will delete a new line. And then see, now this is a script here, and I'm trying to run it. Now see the current cursor position where it is. It is in the same line. You got my point? So whenever if you are taking input from the keyboard using with the read, if you are writing a echo statement like this, first echo enter a name, whatever, like if you are taking input like that, and then this echo we always use with -n because to delete that new line and then to take input in the same line. So it is deleting a new line now, and then cursor is writing in the same line. Let's say I'm giving now Babu. So that Babu now it assigns to the variable name, but it is not printing anything because we don't have a print statements. So that is the echo statement. See, I'm trying to write echo. How to display that variable value? How to display that variable value?
By using $sign.
$. Let's say now, okay, I want to print just instead of name, I want to print something echo hi. See, I'm writing double quotes hi. Between a double quotes, we will get variable substitution also. Hi, $name, welcome, for example. So if you understand here, the variable name, we are using $symbol only, $name I'm using. But between a double quotes, if you are writing, we will get the variable substitution. $of variable name, if you are writing, we will get the variable substitution. So what I'm expecting, instead of printing just name as it is, I want to print something hi, then whatever the name we provided, that name, and then welcome. So now if you check here again, so this is a script, and I'm trying to run it. I'm just giving Babu. Now you can see hi Babu, welcome. So you can substitute like that. We will get like that. Anything, any input if you are taking here, using with the read, that input it assigns to the variable, and that variable we are trying to print it now. But I'm printing with combination of hi and then $name, welcome.
Babu, one question.
Hmm.
When we use option N, equal option N, and enter your name, and then after the read name, right? Command. So when we use any of option N, and then when we give any command, it will print into the same line.
Yeah, in the same line it will read.
Okay.
So that is the reason we are deleting that new line. So I don't want in the next line, I want to take in the same line. So we used -n. So if you practice one time, what is -n, what is /n, and then /n, how we are substituting it with -e, what is that, without -e, what it prints, and then you'll get complete idea. Okay, so one time practice is required. But this will have to see basics, but it is very much required to write other like scripts and that. So that's what I'm covering all the things now. So I hope it is clear now. So what is read and how to take input from the keyboard, and with the combination of read, why we are using this -n, you should aware of it. This all the things. Any questions in this?
Yes, Babu, when we gave A is equal to 10 and then $A, so that means dollar is reading the variable value. On this script, there is no variable. It's just like read name and then.
No, the name is a variable, right? See why we are using dollar
Yeah.
symbol?
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Because this is a variable. See the syntax, I told that read then variable name. So we are defining a variable with the read, and that variable we are substituting here with the dollar sign.
Hmm.
Okay, so Vamsi, you have any questions? Henry?
No, for now.
Okay, so you just watch this and then just try to practice today. And then tomorrow we'll see working with the files concept. So how to work with cat command and touch command and VA editor commands will start. So VA editor is more important, as I told. If you want to write a script, then VA editor is more important. We will discuss that in the next session. Okay. So that's all for today. Thank you all then. Have a great day. So tomorrow same time. But tomorrow we'll get a new link. I'm going to share it. So I'll share it through email. Okay. So you'll get that link. Thank you.
Yeah. Babu,
please.
will you send the recording for last Thursday and this one as well, right? Today?
I already shared the last session recording, right? Only this session pending now.
I haven't received the last one, so
Last one means, did you receive any mail from my side?
no.
Okay, from which consultants you are attending?
Which console I'm attending? Sritha Technologies.
State. Okay. I just 1 minute. Let me check. Ruhulla, right? Ruhulla, right? Ruhulla. Your
Yeah.
contact person is Ruhulla. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have your email ID. So I will share it if not. Okay. I'll share it in last session and this session as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Have a great day.
Okay, thank you.